Okay, here we go.
Good. I'm going to comments.
I need to figure out how to turn those notifications off because, oops. Ay, ay, ay. Whoops. Okay, we're live. Hi, everyone.
Hey!
Sorry, I'm chewing.
You're fine. Hey, everyone. Thank you for coming today.
So, there won't be any kitties in the background today, at least not right now. But there will be a toddler, well, almost kindergartner, because she's home from school. So if you hear that, I apologize in advance.
It's okay.
But anyway, so today we're going to talk about Lori Vallow filed her, Lori Daybell, Vallow Daybell, whatever, filed her appeal. Can you hear me okay? Because the mic's kind of far back from where I am.
You're a little low, but I can hear you.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. So Lori Daybell filed her appeal to the Idaho Supreme Court. They have agreed to hear it, and her attorney wants oral arguments. So, but first, in breaking news, David Unetti is going to represent Nicholas O'Malley, who is the Boston cop that was just indicted for manslaughter. So if you want to read that, go ahead.
Yeti the Spaghetti and Johnson P. LLC is honored to announce that we have been retained to represent Boston police officer Nicholas O'Malley, a good man who finds himself falsely accused of manslaughter because he performed his sworn duty and defended his fellow officers when confronted by a dangerous criminal with an established history of violence and felonies. Attorney David R. Unetti recently spent nearly 4 years zealously fighting a district attorney's office that protected bad police. We wish they prosecuted. Protected bad police officers while prosecuting an innocent woman. An injustice could have occurred, but thankfully, a jury saw the truth and acquitted her. Attorney Unetti and attorney Christina Pajals Ronan now stand prepared to zealously fight another district attorney's office that is apparently chosen to protect criminals while prosecuting good officers. Underlined. We look forward to preventing another injustice in this case as well. Officer Nicholas O'Malley has always maintained a stellar record as a sworn Boston police officer. He is an exemplary family man, a husband, and a father to young children. He chose to become a police officer for all the right reasons and to protect and serve the public and to do the right thing when called upon. Every officer who puts on the uniform realizes the risk of the job and willingly accepts them for the greater good. The decision to charge Officer O'Malley with a crime rather than to acknowledge that his actions occurred during a life or death situation sends a clear message to our police officers that this district attorney's office does not care about their lives or safety. Instead, while sitting in comfort at their desk, this district attorney's office is demonstrating that it prefers the Monday morning quarterback and second guess to the split-second decision of a police officer and to punish them for trying to protect the public from violent menaces. We will not rest until Officer O'Malley is rightfully acquitted.
Damn.
Tell them, Mr. Yannetti. Tell them.
Right. Hey, Greg.
Hey, Greg. How are you doing today?
So,
Crazy stuff.
I got a new to me computer. What the flip? How do I turn these notifications off? I swear.
Good luck. You've got this. Fingers
And I
crossed.
got. Oh, yes. Yes. Good luck on your job interview. I got a new to me computer, so this was my first live stream on the new setup. So, but I got 2 screens now, so yay.
Yeah, that makes things easier. I need to set that up.
Just wish I wasn't stuck in a corner. But anyway, it's not one of those you don't put baby in a corner type situations. Okay, so like I said, Lori Daybell has filed her appeal to the Idaho Supreme Court. Let's see, do I need to make this bigger? Does that work? I don't know how to. Okay.
That's good.
It's 19 pages. For those that don't know about Lori Daybell, she and her now 5th husband, she was convicted of, oh good Lord, 1, 2, 3 counts of murder, 3 counts, I believe, of conspiracy to commit murder, as well as fraud for insurance, and also for using her daughter's social security after she had already died. Possibly her son's as well. And I think also the life insurance for her husband's late wife that they also unalived.
Mom, do you look beautiful?
Yes, go away.
But I'm gonna get a shirt on.
Okay, do that.
Shirts are very important.
Yes, shirts are very important. So she has only one surviving child, Colby Ryan. If you are not subscribed to his channel, go over and subscribe to it. That's a link I did not pull up. I don't know if you can.
I'm working on it.
Okay.
You know where the brush is?
I do. Oh, it's up there. But yeah, if you're not subscribed to Colby, go subscribe to Colby because he deserves all the support that he can get. And he's dealing with some health issues right now, but the ultimate goal is to see if maybe we can get him to come on and have a chat with him. Not necessarily about this. I'm sure it'll come up, but Maelynn and I both have ties to Hawaii, and so does Colby. Because for those, again, that don't know, Lori Vallow actually lived on Kauai for a while, and when she was initially arrested, she was arrested in Hawaii. She and Chad, her now husband, who, by the way, is on death row in Idaho, were found in Hawaii. And after we go over the appeal, we are going to watch a tour that Nate Eaton of East Idaho News did. He got to go to the Daybell house where a lot of this happened. and do a tour of it before it was knocked down. So let's get to this. I will read. We'll just alternate pages. How's that sound?
That sounds good.
Okay. Hang on. No. Oh crap. Sorry. Ay. Pause. Thank you. I don't know if you could hear that, but
while we're doing that, I'm trying.
You got sirens galore over there. Hang on. I don't know what happened.
We live in the middle of the city, so fire station's right down the road.
So sorry.
Good.
Oh, wait. It was in here. Okay. Wait. I am so not used to this setup yet, so give me 1 second. It's downloads, open. Here we go. Okay. I think I got it now. Maybe. I apologize.
You're fine.
It is one of those days, apparently.
You're also learning the new computer with a different Windows. So...
Yes. Why is it on? Hang on. Open. I don't know why it's pulling it up on Edge. Why did it do that? Ay. Okay, hang on. Okay. I don't know why it stopped. Darn it. Okay. And now of course it's not doing. No, not documents. Open. I'm so sorry. Anyway, awkward silence.
How's the weather out there?
In Idaho, it's getting hot for sure.
It's 70 here today. So pretty out.
Why is it opening in? I don't want it on Edge because no.
While you're doing that, I can go ahead and read this story from Michael Welsh.
I got it.
Oh, you got it. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just had to. Okay. It was opening in a different browser, so I had to put it back into Chrome.
Gotcha.
Okay, here we go. So sorry.
No, you're fine.
All right. Okay. Introduction.
It has table of contents.
Yes.
You know what? I'm not surprised.
So the argument she has is the district court committed a structural error by removing Miss Daybell's retained choice counsel of choice in absence of an actual or serious potential conflict of interest. The disqualification proceeding was a critical stage of criminal prosecution against Ms. Daybell because her substantial rights were affected, regardless whether that proceeding occurred under Chad Daybell's closely related and parallel case number, and the district court violated Ms. Daybell's 14th Amendment right to due process by adjudicating her fundamental right to counsel while her case was stayed to determine her competency. Lori was in the state mental hospital for, I want to say, like 7 to 8 months. And so everything was put on hold because initially her case and her husband's case were together. And then she wanted a speedy trial, and so they severed the two cases because his was a death penalty. It ended up being a death penalty case. Hers probably would have been too had she not said, no, I want my trial now. But if you know anything about death penalty cases, they are long and complex and take forever sometimes. But anyway, so okay. So, introduction. Lori Daybell stands on the arguments. Stands on the arguments in her opening brief, but addresses here several points raised in the state's response. This case is not about a district court exercising its discretion, as the state suggests. It is about structural 6th and 14th Amendment errors surrounding the dismissal of retained counsel of choice, the wholesale introduction of 404B evidence to shore up a weak case, and the failure to honor a defendant's repeated and firm invocation of her right to a speedy trial, or her invocation of her speedy trial rights, which is what I was just talking about, where she wanted her trial right away. The state defends the district court's decision to disqualify Ms. Daybell's counsel of choice as a routine exercise of discretion, even though the district court routed litigation on that issue to Chad Daybell's case and denied Lori Daybell's counsel from participating. Then the state uses the district court's irregular procedure as a sword on appeal, arguing that Ms. Daybell's counsel never objected to his disqualification under her case number, then stayed. Although counsel tried to be heard on the issue repeatedly in the only forum in which the district court allowed it to be heard, Chad's case. And finally, the state brushes aside the district court's decision to hold hearings in which Ms. Daybell's right to counsel of choice hung in the balance outside her presence during a period of her adjudicated incompetence. These errors were not discretionary, they were structural. Okay. Let me know when you need me to scroll up. I think you're muted.
I am. It yelled at me too. It popped up. Your mic is muted. The district argument 1. The district court committed structural error by removing Ms. Daybell's retained counsel of choice in the absence of an actual or serious potential conflict of interest. In defending the trial court's disqualification of Ms. Daybell's retained counsel, the state relies heavily on Wheat versus United States, to argue that the trial court acted acted within its discretion. Yeah, that. Respectfully, the state misreads wheat, downplays other Supreme Court cases addressing the importance of the right to counsel of choice, and urges the court to affirm an actual or serious potential for a conflict on non-existent evidence. Okay, go ahead and scroll. Okay, good. The defendant's right to hire her own attorney when facing serious criminal charges is a bedrock principle of the Sixth Amendment, Powell versus Alabama. The right protects the defendant's autonomy, her ability to choose the advocate she trusts, and to control the strategy of her defense when confronted with the power of the states. United States versus Gonzalez-Lopez. This remains true even when outsiders view the defendant's choice about representation as unwise or perhaps foolhardy. It is almost never a good idea, for example, for a defendant to choose to represent herself in court, but the Sixth Amendment allows it. See Farida versus California. Sixth Amendment grants the accused personal rights and reflects respect for the defendant's autonomy. I'll read this sentence.
Mm-hmm.
The autonomy principle is a through line that reappears again and again in other Sixth Amendment proceedings. That
Precedent
that protects the defendant's control over the fundamental defense decisions, regardless of the perceived wisdom of the choice. McCoy versus Louisiana. Don't yell at me. The Sixth Amendment secures the defendant's autonomy to decide that an objective of the defense is to assert innocence. Sorry, my princess is sitting at my door and she wants in.
To be sure, as with any right, this one is not absolute. The courts may deny counsel of choice where the attorney is not admitted to practice, is unavailable for trial, or is suspended or disqualified from practice. And occasionally, a defendant's right to counsel may conflict with the counsel's duty of loyalty to a different client. In Wheat, the Supreme Court addressed that tension and held a trial court can disqualify a defendant's retained counsel without violating the Sixth Amendment if the court finds an actual conflict of interest or the serious potential for one. The trial court was confronted with the potential for simultaneous representation of co-conspirators in the same prosecution, and the risk of divided loyalties was immediate and concrete. Since then, however, the Supreme Court has returned to centrality and importance of right of counsel, or the right to counsel of choice. In 2006, the court held that the right to select counsel of one's choice is the root meaning of the Sixth Amendment. Gonzalez-Lopez. 10 years later, the court cited the limited exceptions set out in Wheat, but noted that we nonetheless emphasized that the constitutional right at issue here is fundamental. Luis versus the United States. That's a 2016 case. Okay, go.
The present case is nothing like the facts in Wheat. Whether Mark Means ever truly represented Chad Daybell as his counsel was disputed. But to the extent that he did, it was for a cup of coffee before Chad was criminally charged. Chad then hired John Pryor to represent him against the charges. If Means ever represented Chad, it was cursory, limited, and had long since ended. Both Chad and Lori had executed a written waiver of any potential conflict in the magistrate court. After that, no new confidential information had been identified. no evidentiary conflict was just demonstrated, and there was no ongoing dual representation as the case headed to trial. Go ahead, scroll. Okay, good. Oh, there we go. In short, there is no evidence in this record that supports either an actual conflict of interest or the serious potential for one. For Sixth Amendment purposes, an actual conflict of interest means precisely a conflict that affected counsel's performance, as opposed to a mere
theoretical
divisions of loyalties. Mason versus Taylor. Words, they're hard. The danger of an actual conflict may be high when an attorney is actively representing jointly charged defendants in a single trial. See Holloway versus Arkansas. Holding that reversal is automatic when a defense attorney has timely objected to concurrent representation. Keeler versus Sullivan. Holding that reversal is not automatic when there is no objection, and the defendant must instead show some effect on the representation.
The danger is much less acute when an attorney no longer represents the defendants at the same time. This is known as successive rather than concurrent representation. See Mickens at 175. Noting that federal rules of criminal procedure require trial court to inquire into the likelihood of conflict whenever jointly charged defendants are represented by a single attorney, but not when counsel previously represented another defendant in a substantially related matter. As the Idaho Supreme Court has noted, the likelihood of an unreliable verdict when justified, the presumption of prejudice under Keeler is not equivalent in cases of successive representation. State versus Alvarado. That is a 2021 case. When the state assumes in its brief that Means was saddled by an actual or serious potential conflict of interest from his supposed brief joint representation of Chad and Lori, nothing concrete supports that assumption. The representation, if any, was not concurrent and ongoing. There are no facts in the record to establish that Chad shared specific confidential information with Means and that Means could use help to help Lori to Chad's detriment or vice versa. On that point, the district court cited a jail call from Lori to Chad on April 28, 2020, and the district court found that during that call, Chad alluded that he shared confidential information with Mr. Means that Chad believed would be covered by attorney-client privilege, and the recording suggested that Chad believed he would not have to testify against Lori if Means represented them both. How precisely Chad alluded to confidential information or suggested he would not need to testify against Lori remained wholly unexplained in the district court's opinion. There you go. Did I go up too high? Oh, there you go.
And yet Chad had explained to the district court about his interaction with Means, an explanation that did not make it into the district court's opinion. Chad did so in an ex parte hearing where the court queried him about the relationship. There he told the court that he had not discussed with Mr. Means any factual details of Lori's case or circumstances surrounding her case.
I'm coming.
In the state versus Chad Daybell, you're good.
Okay.
He told the court that all Means ever discussed with him regarding Lori's case were court dates and the like. Chad's attorney told the court that as he did repeatedly, that he saw no problem because Ms. Vallow has no information about Mr. Daybell that could cause him any concern anyways. Okay, if you'll scroll for me. Okay, good. There we go. Chad said that he never considered Means to be his counsel, and he was fine with Means continuing to represent Lori. The court did not grapple with any of that in its written opinion. The state fails to grapple with it here. Wheat allows disqualification to prevent ethical paralysis arising from divided loyalties, not to elevate the court's paternalistic assessments of counsel's ability.
Paternalistic or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, sorry.
I think it's paternalistic because it's talking about showing patterns.
That's true.
I don't know. I ain't never heard of it. Accountabilities override a previously accepted waiver because charges became more serious or reshape the defense team during a period when the defense is incompetent and proceedings are stayed. I'm looking at it.
It is true that the magistrate court, who had earlier enforced the waiver, stated it might have ruled differently if the penalties were more severe, which is what the district court then did. The statement reveals the flaw. Conflict analysis changed because of punishment severity, not because of new conflict facts. There were none. Severity of charges does not transform a waivable to potential conflict into an unwaivable actual one. If it did, every capital case would permit trial courts to override waivers based solely on gravity. That is not law. Footnote 1. Thank you, Melanie, for teaching us so well. The state argues in its brief that Lori Daybell was unable to renew her previous conflict waiver when the disqualification issue came up a second time because she had since been deemed incompetent. Later, it contends that her physical absence from proceedings affecting her right to counsel was not constitutionally problematic, in part because her alleged incompetency meant she would have added nothing to the proceeding, as she could not make knowing and voluntary choices or assist her in her defense. As it stands, this is a heads I win, tails you lose argument, but the state is very close to coming upon the simple, constitutionally sound solution to these sticky problems. Don't proceed on issues affecting Lori Daybell's fundamental constitutional rights until her competency is restored. The solution is not, however, going to go full speed ahead without any input from her or her lawyer. Let's see if there's any more down here. No. Okay. This was not a Wheat scenario involving simultaneous representation creating an imminent trial conflict. There was no actual or serious potential for conflict. Rather, this is a case in which the state and the court restructured the defense team without her or her counsel's participation. That is the structural injury condemned in Gonzalez-Lopez, the wrongful deprivation of the defendant's chosen advocate. Once that deprivation occurs, no additional showing of prejudice is required. There you go. Number 2.
Argument 2. Disqualification proceedings is a critical stage of the criminal prosecution against Ms. Daybell because her substantial rights were affected, regardless of whether that proceeding occurred under Chad Daybell's closely related and parallel case number. The state attempts to reframe the second issue raised by Ms. Daybell's opening brief as nothing more than the denial of a motion to intervene in a separate criminal case. The characterization obscures what actually occurred. If you'll scroll. Okay, good.
There you go.
The state glides over the fact that counsel filed the motion to intervene under the separate but closely related case number because the district court chose to split the cases over the state's objection, and then directed the litigation on this particular subject to occur in Chad Daybell's case. It wasn't a random choice that Ms. Daybell's counsel made. The district court had ordered her case to be separated and stayed. But more importantly, it is the substance of the proceedings, not where it happened, that matters constitutionally. This proceeding, regardless whether it occurred in the Chad Daybell case or in the courthouse parking lot, determined.
Sorry.
I know, it was just okay. Determined whether Ms. Daybell would lose her retained counsel of choice. A hearing that results in the removal of a defense chosen advocate is a critical stage of the prosecution against the defendant. She had to have been one to write this.
No, actually, I think this is much more professional than what she did in Arizona. Trust me. The Sixth Amendment guarantees the assistance of counsel at every critical stage. Hang on. Excuse me. Where substantial rights may be affected. United States v. Wade, Mempa v. Ray, I think. A stage is critical if the accused required aid in coping with legal problems or assistance in meeting his adversary. A stage is also critical if it is one where the results might well settle the accused's fate and reduce the trial itself to a mere formality. Under this controlling case law, the Sixth Amendment doesn't turn on docket numbers. It turns on the substance of the hearing and its effects on the defendant's ability to defend herself. Disqualification proceedings in this case determined whether Ms. Daybell would be deprived of her retained counsel of choice in what was then a capital prosecution. That determination directly altered the structure of her defense and the course of the case. There should be little doubt that a proceeding to decide whether a defendant loses her retained counsel where the state is advocating to disqualify that attorney is one in which the accused required aid in coping with legal problems or assistance in meeting her adversary. Now, I know that, and reading this, I get it. I see where the issue is. However, what happens is if the Supreme Court rules that, okay, she gets another trial because of this, what's the word? I don't remember what the word is at the moment, and they end up going for the death penalty. Like, if her original conviction is vacated and she does have another trial, what's to say that the state is not going to go for the death penalty, which they didn't get to do the first time around? Right. Because she wanted the speedy trial. So I get what they're saying, but at the same time, and I know this is a part of the normal procedure, like after a conviction is, everybody has the right to an appeal. I'm just saying that, she could end up where her husband is. Let's be honest. I mean, she would still be at the women's prison, obviously, but she could end up on death row. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think that'd be a chance I'd be willing to take.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
but I know she has this vision of her and Chad getting out.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. At least I don't think it will. I hope it.
I don't think it will either, but she
for Colby's sake. Yeah. Yeah, it's gross.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so nor can the state claim successfully that the issue was waived or forfeited based on counsel's alleged failure to file an objection under Lori Daybell's case number. The state suggests that because defense counsel filed other motions in Miss Daybell's case other motions in Miss Daybell's case number, he knew how to object. Therefore, if he wished, that argument misses the point. There you go, ma'am.
The issue is not whether counsel was capable of the filing things. The issue is whether the district court structured the conflict in litigation in a manner that foreclosed meaningful objection to in Ms. Daybell's case. The district court expressly routed the conflict issue in Chad Daybell's companion case and confined argument there. Hold on, I got princess.
Yeah, you're fine.
They are acting crazy today. Okay. When counsel attempted to participate in that proceeding, the court denied intervention. The court then relied on the record developed in that forum to disqualify counsel in Ms. Daybell's stayed case. Under those circumstances, filing duplicative objections in a stayed case after the court had already designated another forum for resolving the issue would have been futile. The Sixth Amendment does not require a defendant to engage in procedural formalism to preserve an objection where the court has already signaled that the matter will be decided elsewhere. A defendant cannot be faulted for failing to object in a proceeding from which she was not permitted meaningful participation. See United States versus Chronic in 1984, presumed prejudice where the counsel is denied at a critical stage. No, you're good. The constitutional inquiry focuses on whether Ms. Daybell was afforded the assistance of counsel at the stage where her retained attorney removal was determined. She was not. The fact that counsel filed unrelated motions in her case does not cure the defect. Okay. The denial of counsel at a critical stage is structural error chronic. When the accused is denied the assistance of counsel at a proceeding where substantial rights were determined, prejudice is presumed. This court therefore needs to not assess harmlessness. The constitutional injury occurred when the counsel was prevented from participating in the proceeding that determined his removal.
The state's attempt to reduce this issue to a procedural technicality, that's the word I was looking for, does not withstand scrutiny. The disqualification proceeding was a critical stage, and Ms. Daybell was denied the assistance of counsel at that stage. Reversal is required. Number 3. District Court violated Ms. Daybell's 14th Amendment right to due process by adjudicating her fundamental Sixth Amendment right to counsel while her case was stayed to determine her competency. As for the third issue raised in Ms. Daybell's opening brief, the state characterizes the disqualification proceedings outside of Ms. Daybell's presence while she was at the state hospital as ministerial and unrelated to the prosecution. That characterization is incorrect. A defendant may not be subjected to proceedings affecting substantial rights while incompetent. Drope v. Missouri, Cooper v. Oklahoma. The prohibition is not limited to trial. It extends to proceedings in which the defendant's ability to consult with counsel and protect her interests is essential. There you go.
The state again recast the hearings on Lori Daybell's fundamental Sixth Amendment right under tab Daybell's case number as matters occurring in a separate criminal case. The state writes that neither the U.S. Supreme Court nor Idaho's appellate courts have held that a defendant has a due process right to be physically present in hearings held in someone else's criminal case. It's not where the proceedings occurs that matters constitutionally, but what the proceeding is about.
That's it kind of reminds me of that day in Karen's case where Karen and her team were down in the basement and they had that hearing regarding Aiden, but it was under her case number.
Right.
Remember? And they had to like run upstairs and get into the courtroom. That's where that seems like that's the only example I can really think of that fits right there. But it's a pretty good example, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that the marching in like that was
right. That was epic. But
but yeah, no, and I can see, where she's coming from.
Yeah, I can also see where the state's like, oh, well, it's a technicality, but people get out of prison for less.
Right. So, I mean, I don't think she'll ever see the light of day outside of prison, but
no, that's the thing though, is even if her case were to be overturned in Idaho, she would be sent to Arizona because she was sentenced to like 2 life sentences, I believe, in Arizona. So either way, she will never see the light of day outside of a prison wall.
No. And if her rights were really violated, then she deserves a new trial. We got to protect the rights of the evil if we want those rights to be good for us.
Right.
I hate that, but it is what it is.
Yeah, but like I said, thankfully she will never like get out. Like
right.
She screwed herself by representing herself in Arizona because like all of the mistakes that she potentially made are on her because she represented herself.
Yeah.
So
sorry. Yeah. All right. You want to scroll up to that line with the C Wade?
Right there.
Good. Yeah. Surely the state would not claim that a charged criminal defendant would be found guilty in a trial under a separate case heading and docket number without participation from the defendant or her counsel free of any constitutional concern. The state also argues that the court's finding Ms. Daybell incompetent means that her presence would have added nothing to the hearing. That turns the right upside down. The constitutional rule is not that courts may proceed outside of a defendant's presence because a defendant is incompetent and cannot meaningfully add to a substantive issue. It is the opposite. A defendant who lacks capacity to understand the proceedings against her or to assist in her own defense is entitled to protection from adjudication affecting substantial rights during that period. Okay, go ahead, scroll down.
Oh,
This,
there you go.
the state relies on Kentucky versus Stinser, but Stinser addressed the right to presence at a competency-related evidentiary hearing where the defendant's presence would not have contributed to the fairness of the procedure. That case did not involve the removal of retained counsel of choice. It did not involve a structural Sixth Amendment right, and it did not involve the adjudication of a defense team's composition in that was then a capital prosecution.
The constitutionally appropriate solution was not to proceed with weighty matters that affected Ms. Daybell's substantial rights while she was gone and at the state hospital, whether it was in Chad Daybell's case or anywhere else. If the state's view were correct, there would be no constitutional or statutory rule that proceedings must be suspended while a defendant is incompetent because her presence, as the state sees it, would just be useless or that the benefit but a shadow. The state's argument shows why adjudication on substantive matters must be deferred during a period of incompetence. The removal of retained counsel of choice is not administrative housekeeping. It fundamentally alters the structure of the defense. That determination required strategic input, consultation, and the exercise of personal autonomy, none of which an incompetent defendant can provide. I get that. Like, I see where, like, I see this, and it concerns me that she may end up getting another trial and that Colby and Kay and Larry Woodcock and like all these people would have to go through this again, and Tammy's family. And it's heartbreaking, like, if she does end up getting another trial.
I agree.
Oh, it's the first one was hard enough. And it's like Nate Eaton has said, like, on Courtroom Insider, I don't know how often you watch it, but he's talked about like how last year he was in Arizona at this time because I believe last year around this time was her trial regarding Charles Vallow, her husband before Chad. And we should actually, you know what, those would be trials to watch because those trials were wild. Absolutely wild. And Judge Boreski was, oh my gosh, he was a saint.
Let's do that. Let's do that next week.
Okay.
Like starting Monday and then and watch the trial.
Okay. That works.
Because I didn't watch these trials. I know the stories, but I didn't watch the trials. I wasn't trial watching yet. Karen Reed was my first trial that I watched.
Okay, yeah, we can do that, and then
especially with this
about off air, I will reach out to Crispy again and see if we can get Colby on at some point.
Yeah, that'd be really.
Yeah, and plus, we can talk about Hawaii too, not necessarily just about this stuff.
Right.
The state argues. Wait, did I? Yeah. The state argues that Ms. Daybell's case was technically stayed, suggesting that no substantive rights were adjudicated, but the district court lifted no stay before disqualifying counsel. Instead, it entered an order permanently removing retained counsel during the period of incompetency and relied on proceedings conducted outside her presence. This makes me so nervous. Okay, go ahead.
Due process does not permit the state to suspend a case for incompetency while simultaneously restructuring the defense team, see Drope, emphasizing that the right not to be tried while incompetent protects the fairness and dignity of the criminal process. The constitutional protection would be hollow if courts could adjudicate fundamental defense rights during a period when the defendant lacks the capacity to participate. The state's harmless error framing should also fail. The question is not whether substitute counsel performed adequately. The question is whether a substantial defense right was determined while the defendant was incompetent and absent. It was. That violation of due process independently warrants reversal. In conclusion, based on the above and based on the reasons provided in the appellant's opening brief, Lori Daybell respectfully asks this court to reverse her judgment of conviction and remain for an order dismissing all charges against her based on the violation of her statutory and constitutional right to a speedy trial. Short of that, this court should reverse the judgment of conviction and remand it for a new trial based on the errors raised in issues 1 through 4. Respectfully submitted on this 11th day of March 2026, Greg H. Durham, attorney for the appellant.
And then there's the certificate in service and whatnot.
Yep. All of the...
It makes me so nervous.
It makes me nervous too, but, on the other hand, even if she gets another trial, she's not going to be found innocent. She's not going to be found not guilty.
Yeah.
So now, to put the family, I don't want to see Colby go through that again.
Right.
So I do hope that it's denied for, selfishly, I hope it's denied so that, Colby and the rest of the family doesn't have to go through this again.
Right.
But then on the other hand, if her rights were truly violated, then she needs a new trial.
Yeah, I agree.
So It's such a for me.
Yeah. Do you want to go over the article and then we can watch the house tour? Or do you want to watch the house tour first and then go over that article? Because the house tour is like about an hour long.
This is a long... Let's save this for tomorrow.
Okay.
The article, and let's just do the
house tour. Okay.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. Oh, hang on.
Why,
back it up.
you're fine. While you're doing that, I'm going to take a quick break.
Okay. Okay. You know what? That sounds like a good idea. So why don't I show this? We will be right back, everybody. Okay. All right. While we wait for Malin to come back, does anybody have any questions? I will go actually and do the grifting part of this whole shebang, shall we say. Donations are not necessarily, but always welcomed. If you want to support my channel, I have Cash App, which is $AngiM1984YT, or Venmo at AngiM1984. And I also have a Buy Me a Coffee and Amazon wish list to keep the kids busy while I'm streaming if I'm alone. So add this in. For those that don't know, Nate Eaton was a big part of covering this case. If you've ever seen the Dateline where they talk about this case and you hear the reporter put a microphone in Chad and Lori's case asking where her kids are, that is Nate Eaton. He would be another, like, hey, Zach. He
Love
would
my
be
Zach.
another great, like, interview. So I will reach out to East Idaho News and see if maybe we can get Nate on too, because that would be awesome. Oh, and hang on. Let's see. Oops, hang on. New setup, but need a cuteness break. Ugh. They are sleeping right now, but I can bring the camera over to where they are. And take a peek at the babies. There's the babies. Can you see the babies? Yep.
We can see Callie. There's Callie.
Callie. And then Turtle is right there.
Yep.
And then Gizmo, of course.
Yeah, that's little Gizmo.
My baby girl. Yeah, those are the babies. Now she wants out of the box because she got woken up.
Yeah.
Okay. Go back to sleep. It's not time to eat yet. Okay, so let me close that out. All right, so like I said, Nate was a huge part of covering Vallow Daybell. I will reach out to East Idaho News and see if maybe we can get him on an interview with the interviewer, so to speak.
That would be so cool.
Right. All right, and then so this is he was able to get access to Chad Daybell's house before it was torn down. The property was bought by a nonprofit. I don't know what they're doing with it, if anything has changed yet as far as what they're doing with it. But yeah, so this was, hang on, let me see. This was this was a while ago because his hair looks different now. But this was a year ago, so oh my goodness, I got a baby wanting out now.
Are you going to do this at regular speed or?
I might speed it up just a smidge because let's go 1.25. So yeah, so this was the tour of the house, and he explains it and all that. So
everybody, good evening. It is Courtroom Insider. I'm Nate Eaton. So glad you are with me tonight. It is September 19th, and we have quite an episode for you tonight. This is an episode that I wasn't sure I was even going to do, but I felt that I needed to, and I'll explain a little bit of why. First of all, I want to thank you for joining us. Please let me know where you're at in the comments below, where you're watching from, and if you have any questions too, may try to get to those at the end of the broadcast tonight. So a little background onto Chad Daybell's home. The first time that I actually went to the house in Salem, Idaho was 2020, the beginning of the year. I think it was January 3rd. And here's video from when a warrant was served there at the house. It was a cold January day. I remember I was at a funeral when I got a text message that the police were serving a warrant at the house. Eric Grossarth, my colleague, went out to the home. Of course, when we show up, we're allowed to shoot video from the street, from the area, as long as police haven't shut it down. And that's exactly what we did that day. And then I went up a few days later, and here is video of me doing a stand-up across the street from the house. At this point, Chad and Lori were in Hawaii, so they weren't even at the house. And the children did not want to talk to the media. A few weeks later, I went to Hawaii, confronted Chad and Lori. Lori then moved. Well, she didn't move willingly. She was transferred back to the state of Idaho on the plane. And then Chad moved back and moved into the home. And I went back again to the house to see if he wanted to say anything, and nobody was home the day I went. And then I've been out there, of course, tragically, within days after those, JJ and Tylee were found buried there on the property. I've been out other times along the fence that was set up across the street as a memorial to the kids. And I've driven by countless times, but I've never been inside the house, and I've never really been able to look around the property. And I never, to be honest with you, thought about it, never really had a desire to do so. And a few weeks ago, the new buyers of the home, S.J. Healings Crossroads, reached out and asked if I wanted to go through the house. And originally I said, no, I have no interest. Sounds creepy, not interested, seems a little bit voyeuristic. But after we got off the phone, I thought, actually, maybe I should, because the house and the property were such a pivotal part of the trial. Of the whole trial. How many days did we hear, is the house 1 or 2 stories? What's the cozy cone? Where was Chad? Where did Tammy die? Where were the children found on the property? There were all these things that we heard about at the trial, but really none of us, most of us, the vast majority of us have never been there and seen it. In fact, the detectives and the officers that served that warrant the day those kids were found, the vast majority of them have never been back. It's not like they can go back and come and go as they want. I asked a few of them if they wanted to go back. They said never again. And so I called back the owners of SJ Healing's Crossroads, the nonprofit. They want to be anonymous, the owners, the people want to get. And I said, would you mind? I'd like to go through it. And can I bring my camera? And they said that would be fine. And they want to be anonymous again, but they said that I could explore the property and I could go through the house before it's torn down. And that will be happening soon. So it's something that Erica and I went earlier this week, and we went through it and we walked on the property. And I'll kind of tell you my thoughts and feelings, I guess, after I play the video. But before I do that, I want to let you know that this house was more than the Daybells. Before the Daybells were there, another family lived there. And one of those family members reached out to me, not knowing any of this, not knowing that I was going through the house, just knowing that somebody new had purchased it with plans to tear it down. And they reached out to me. I got this email the day before I went through the home. And it says, and I'm sharing it with their permission, Nate, we appreciate the coverage you've done on the Daybell home. My siblings are all in mourning too because of what happened there. The fact is that our family built the home and we were raised there with many fond memories. Our parents are now deceased, but sold the home to Chad Daybell before they passed away. We are sad to hear the buildings are being torn down, but as we were talking about it for the past months, we decided amongst ourselves that that would be the best solution for the sad ending of this whole thing. So happy to hear the nonprofit that purchased it has the same idea that we thought about. Please pass on our love and appreciation to them. Our parents would have appreciated it so well. It's time for healing for all involved. Many neighborhood children used to play baseball and kickball in the area where the children were found. Our home was the gathering place for all the children who lived nearby.
Oh my God, chills.
Right. I don't mean to pause it right there where he's reading the email, but he also covered the demolition. So at some point we can watch that video as well. Ray Hermosillo, who was one of the lead detectives on the case, actually went up to the property when that happened. So, but I'm gonna pause it again or play it again because I have kittens that are apparently hungry. Oh my goodness! Kelly is like climbing all over me.
Oh. She says, feed me now.
Yes. She's trying to eat my face and scratch at it. But
I think we could actually speed this up to 1.5 and it'd be okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I usually watch everything on 2.0.
Right, me too.
Replay crew, so yeah, I think 1.5 will be fine. Yeah, him reading this email is just giving me chills.
Right.
Just like, ooh.
Okay, well, I gotta get this kiddo fed, so let's play it.
Nightly games would last until dark almost every summer night. We cannot think of anything more fitting and healing than a place where children can again gather. Those good memories that we had can be remembered, and the sad part of the property can be forgotten. I now live in Oregon, but my siblings all live in Southeast Idaho. And so I wrote back and I said, I'm going through the property. Are you okay if I read what you sent me? And she said, yes, as long as it helps everyone heal and not add another layer. And then she followed up with some pictures of the property. And looking at this home, I don't know when these were taken, but it was in such better shape. The house was taken care of. The buildings out back were taken care of. The tree in the front yard, which is so big and prominent there, looked better taken care of. Obviously, there's been years of trauma and neglect of the property. But she wrote me back with these pictures and then said, Nate, I remember the Price Corner, as it was called for 60 years, as a place of happiness and safety. A Price family lived on each corner. Many good things happened there, so it is sad. With less than 10 years of ownership, it will be remembered as a horrific crime scene. My father always kept his property in pristine condition. Several years ago, a horrible accident happened on that corner where many of the youth traveling in a car were killed. My father heard it and ran out. He was first on the scene, called 911, and ran into our home to get several hand-quilted blankets from our closet. It was a cold night, and he covered the bodies of both living and dead. Our memories are of love and kindness on that corner, even in times of crisis. You asked if you could quote me, but only if it was done not to take focus of loss away from the families who feel the pain of their loss. Our loss is so much less than theirs, just a different perspective. The pictures are of happy times when the property was beautiful. So I want to give that context because this was a gathering place. Before Chad Daybell moved in, I can just imagine when you close your eyes, kids from all over playing on that property in the backyard, playing kickballs, soccer, as she mentioned, baseball, gathering. It's such a large area. You could play football games. You could do all sorts of stuff. And so with that perspective, knowing that it wasn't always the place it was. And could you imagine if your childhood home where you grew up something so horrific happened there. We all feel a bond. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were in West Jordan, Utah, where I grew up, and I took an exit and I said, I'm going to drive by the house where I was raised, kids. And I showed the kids that house and talked about, there's where we played grocery store, and there's where I pretended to be a weatherman, and there's the fence I hit once when I snuck out in my parents' car, and all the memories come flooding back. I cannot imagine if a horrific murder had then occurred there. And that's exactly what this kind woman who emailed me talked about. And I have heard about Price Corners, and I had heard about that horrific accident where some teenagers were killed in front of the home there at the intersection. And so with that background, I'm now going to take you to the property. And I'm going to set it up so that you can see exactly where Chad's home is, where Emma Murray, his daughter, was living. No one is now in the home, and this can kind of give you an idea of the property. So here we go. Well, here we are outside Chad Daybell's former home in Salem. This is actually the closest that I'll ever get to the home. I did go up to the door one time early on when the case was still active, and there was a sign on the door that said no media. And the new owners have invited me to come and go through it with them, and I'm here with Erica, my wife. As you can see, right now there's no trespassing signs on the fences. There's a few around the property. They don't want people coming and going here. But it's a busy road. Let's just show. I mean, this is a busy highway. For those of you that haven't been out here, of course, right now there's not a lot of cars coming and going, but the speed limit out here is 50 miles an hour. And it's on a busy intersection, so there's drivers coming each way. While we come out here, to give you an idea, so this is Chad's home, right over here, was Chad's home. And Emma, his daughter, on the day that Chad was arrested, was staying over there. So you heard a lot during the trial about the kitty corner property. It's right there. So, it's about a 1 or 2 minute walk to get over there. And this driveway is where Chad Daybell was parked. Come on up here, honey. The morning that police came to serve that search warrant on June 9th of 2020. If you look over here, I don't know how well you can see, and I don't know what the shrubbery was like that morning, the branches, but that tree right through here, that underneath that tree is where, or near that tree is where JJ was found. So in court, we heard multiple people testify that Chad was in the car, probably right here where I'm standing, and was looking over his shoulder back there. If this big tree right here didn't have the hanging branches at the time, he would have a perfect shot to see what was happening back there. It was also the same driveway that Tammy Daybell was shot at by Alex Cox. Now, it's kind of hard to show you from here, but this is where she was parked, and Alex came from this direction and shot at her. There was not a fence here at the time. This fence went up after Lori Vallow was arrested, and it was put up, but at the time there was no fence here. So come with me, honey, and we'll show you kind of the difference between the driveways. There's the main driveway here. Watch your step. But if you look over here, can you see that driveway? That is where, we'll walk over a little bit closer. So this is where, according to testimony, Tammy normally parked on this driveway. So can you see that now? So people testified that Alex Cox, according to his cell phone data, likely parked his truck down this street. So we'll keep walking. This is where the cars would park. And so the plan was most likely that Tammy would park here, that Alex Cox would come down this street, not very far, and he would be able to shoot her here as she was parked along this way. That's not what happened that night, that October 9th of 2019. She didn't park here, but Alex Cox was still parked down there. Instead, she parked around the side of the house. So when the plan didn't go as planned, Alex Cox, I'm assuming here based on testimony, likely came running across this property to shoot at her over on this driveway. And remember that Attorney General Investigator Edwards testified that the weapon he had, if it got jostled about at all, if it got moved or whatever, or the pins got shaken, it wouldn't fire. And sure enough, it didn't fire. So he comes over here, from over that way, shoots at Tammy in this driveway. She screamed, and right inside here is where the family was. Chad and other family members. Meanwhile, Joseph Murray testified he was across the street, kitty corner, at the other house.
Mother-in-law what I just got home about 10 minutes ago, was unloading her car, and she thinks the man, which is not only the central agency, because they bring CMAS, came up to her with a table gun, sort of steam out of her, wasn't loaded, she came out of it. But she kept asking what he was doing with the phone, and then suddenly, after she pulled out the husband, he ran off.
Okay, what's the address? Are you there? Hello? Are you still there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, now I can hear you. What's the address?
It's 199 North, 1900 East, Rexford, Idaho, 2440. Not my address. You can speak for I don't know what her address.
Okay, I need her address. What's her location?
I think it's 201. I think is her address.
201 North 1900 East?
Yep, yep.
Does she know which direction he ended up running?
He headed back behind their house.
Okay, and did she give you a description of the clothing?
I didn't get one from him. I don't know that.
It's so crazy that Tammy like survived that only to be killed like I think a week or two later.
Yeah.
It's insane. And she's kind of, unfortunately, she's kind of the forgotten like victim in their trials in Idaho because so many people were focused on the kids that Tammy's death like kind of goes by the wayside, you know?
Right.
Oh my goodness, come on. Here. It's in your mouth. It is literally in your mouth, dude. Yeah, this is the crappy nipple. Anyway, sorry.
And what is your name?
Yeah.
My name is Joseph Murray.
Okay, is this a good phone number for you?
Yep.
Okay, I am sending a deputy out to your mother's home.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
October 9, 2019, 21 hours, 49 minutes, 20 seconds.
Fremont County Sheriff's Office. Hi, I need to report something. Okay, go ahead. What's the address? Okay, at 202 North, 1900 East. The corner with the blinking yellow light on Salem Highway. Is it a suspicious person?
Yes.
Okay, what was he wearing?
He was all dressed in black and he had a ski mask on.
And he's at the blinking light now is where you saw him?
No, he's gone now. I pulled up into our driveway and I didn't step out of the backseat of my car and suddenly he was there and he had a paintball gun and he was and like he was going to shoot at me and I kept asking him what he was doing so I could tell him the paintball thing and then he just kept doing it so I yelled to my husband and then he took off running around the back of my house.
Okay, give me just 1 minute, stay on the line with me.
Okay.
So as far as I know, Moni, they still support their dad. At least their daughter does, Emma. As far as I know, they still support him.
That'd be hard.
He is Lori's fifth husband, actually. Yeah. Yeah. It's literally in your mouth. You can stop with the hand waving, child. It's right there. You are drinking it. Mm-hmm.
Right. It's her only parent left. I mean,
Yeah.
have you ever seen the series Evil Lips Here?
No.
So I think it's on Netflix, but it's a series and it's about, the family members of these types of criminals and,
Yeah. Well, and the thing with Emma is there's actually letters that Chad sent out that she put on the internet, and I don't remember where they are, but it is disgusting. Like, it is. Yeah.
Moni, I think just the one. How many of Lori's ex-husbands are still among us?
I
I think they
want
only
to
did
say
the one.
2. Because Joseph Ryan, who was Tylee's dad, is gone.
Okay.
Charles is gone. Okay, so 3. Because Chad's still alive for now.
Okay.
The keywords being for now. Because
For
he's
now.
on death row.
I mean, two out of 5. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know about Colby's dad, but I think Joseph Ryan actually adopted Colby because Colby was the result of a quickie marriage that her family didn't approve of, and it was abusive, and yeah. But I mean, out of the 5 that she's had, Charles was, from everything, and we'll watch the trial and you get to hear about Charles, but Charles was, from the sounds of it and the way that Colby talks about him, Charles was sounds like a great guy, honestly. But yeah. Yeah, it could be worse for sure. And like I said, Chad, as far as that is concerned, and it'll be years before it happens, but it's a for now situation because, like I said, he's on death row, and it doesn't look like he's filed any of his appeals yet. So, who knows when that will happen? But it's a whole process, obviously.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't. I hope he just accepts it.
Well, there's one that's automatic. Like, there's an automatic appeal. You gotta talk to Daddy. I'm busy. So one is an automatic appeal, and anything after that, I think, is by choice. But
okay.
October 9, 2019. 21 hours, 50 minutes, 28 seconds.
That was north 1900 east.
no, she hasn't had any yet. She was asking me to help her open it, but
October 9, 2019. 21 hours, 50 minutes, 43 seconds.
He left direction he was going.
that's not pineapple. That's watermelon.
He went behind my house.
Sorry.
And I went in the house and got my husband and son. And then they went out and looked, and he was long gone by then. So he was on the north side of my house. Is where he went to get away. Okay. He didn't say anything, or he just kept acting like he was holding the gun, like he was, had a rifle and was shooting at me. So, but nothing came out of the gun either, so I don't think it was loaded. Okay, what is your name? My name is Tammy Daybell. Okay, I will pass your information on to my deputies. We actually just had a previous call about this individual, so they're out in the area looking out. Okay, I think it was my son-in-law who lives diagonal from us that called you guys already. Oh. I just wanted to make sure it got reported. So, let's see. And what's your son-in-law's name? Joseph Murray. Okay, it was him. Okay. So, all right, I have a deputy that will be out at your home here shortly. Okay, thank you. Yep.
All right, now we are at the back driveway, just to kind of give you a perspective. This is the look, the back driveway and the back of the house. And right over here, we walk inside. Well, before we do that, actually, just right down here is where they believe Alex Cox pulled off in the truck. And so he would have walked down this area. This all happened in October when Tammy was shot at. So really about a month from now, the conditions will probably be a little bit drier. It's possible some of this could have been burned off, but pretty much this time of year, he would have walked down here assuming he was going to fire at Tammy this way, but it didn't happen. And if we walk in through this fence, it's right over here was where the fire pit is, on the other side of this fence. And that's where they found the remains of Tylee, and then JJ was further back. But you could have entered that property. There's another way to enter. You could have backed a truck into here and opened up that gate down there if you needed to, and pull a truck right out there. Or even right there, you can see there's a fence that someone could drive across the property and get right to it. So it's easy access once those gates are open and once you're in a vehicle, in case, Alex did come and need to dispose of it. But this was the backyard. You think about, so many people have said, how did Tammy Daybell not know about this? It was right outside her back door. Well, really, that's the back door that's the cozy cone, as they called it, the loft area that has 2 stories. There's the door to go inside there. It's not right outside. I mean, there is some distance. And so if something had been burning there and she was working all day, I don't know. I don't think she was out here often, roaming the pasture area. So it wasn't like it was right here on this grass. Still fairly close, but not super close. JJ's remains were further back. And really, Tylee was disposed of and killed first at the beginning of September. So Tammy was here for about a month, a little over a month around that time, when between the time Tylee died and the time Tammy died, and then a few weeks with JJ being further back. So that's kind of a look at the backyard area. Again, the fences were not here when this happened. The fence is new. Well, I shouldn't say new. It's new since the case broke, but really it's several years old. And
to clarify, though, this is pasture that's been fenced.
Yeah, this fence was here. The exterior fence around the home was not here, the one where the no trespassing signs are. And the new owner has put up the no trespassing signs. Those were not here before. However, Chad's daughter and her husband put up the no media sign that went up when after this case became big and media were here. So the new owners have offered to take me inside. Again, I've never been inside the house. I know that it might seem voyeuristic. And I did debate in my mind, doing this, but this was such a pivotal part of the case. We heard about inside the home for weeks. We heard about the property, and for us to really understand the layout of the property, the different driveways inside the home, I do believe there is a journalistic purpose in going inside, even if it is to help understand and tell the full story. Some of you might disagree and think it is too voyeuristic, and I can respect that opinion, but we're going to head inside now. Never been inside. We're going to roll our camera as we walk inside and give you a look inside Chad Daybell's home before it is torn down, and then we'll probably head out back. So this is the front entryway.
I was going to say, if anybody is interested, we can watch the trials if you haven't watched them. Are you taking her to Dad? If anybody is interested, we are going to watch Lori's Arizona trials probably next week. And
I'm interested.
Yeah, if anybody else is interested in watching like Chad's trial, forewarning, it is rough. It is a hard trial to watch. You will cry. You will be furious. No, you don't do that on the couch.
Stop it.
But if anyone is interested, other than the Arizona trials, we can definitely do that.
I'm interested. I fully expect to have that roller coaster emotions.
No, here, listen, here. Take this to Daddy.
Here, Dad.
Right. I saw an interview she had after she got sentenced, and she was like, I've had a vision. I'm going to see me and Chad out. We're not going to stay here forever. Crazy.
Huh? I don't know. But yeah, we can watch Nate's interview with her too. Like that was some crazy shit.
Yeah. Let's put that on the agenda for tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll read the Michael Welsh article. Yeah, I love that. The music sound like no. We'll do the Michael Welsh article and do the Nate Eaton interview. That's it's probably the interview I saw. But, my oldest has a kitten that's like 6 or 7 months old, and maybe she's over a year now, but she's always telling him no to everything.
Yeah, they are very hungry, so.
All right, well, let's get them fed. Let's get this rolling and get them fed.
Yeah.
You can see there's this little entry before we go inside the home. The power has been turned off, so it's dark in here. This is the front room. You can see there's a fireplace right here. The buyers told me that when they went through it, there was obviously stuff here. In fact, throughout this video, you might see some of the photos that they took when they were going through the house. But this is the room where they were informed, or when the neighbors came over that to bring gifts after Tammy had passed away. This is where Chad was, and this is where their son Garth was. Of course, Emma didn't live here at the time, but a few days after Chad Daybell was arrested, Emma and her husband, Joseph Murray, moved into the home. So they took possession of it. And so they've been living here for the past 4 years. So we'll just walk through this. Again, the front room, you can see there's some light fixtures that probably came with the house and lights on the wall. It is an older home. And then did you show the fireplace, honey? Older fireplace here. It looks like this is white rock. And if we go down here, the hallway, I'll tell you, it's much smaller than the photos, in my opinion, much smaller than the photos show us in the court. I mean, this is pretty narrow hallway.
This is the only bathroom on this side of the house.
Yeah, there's a bathroom. Only one bathroom on this side. This looks like a girl's room. Just I say that because of the pink walls. Then there's another room here to the left. We can come on in here. Closet. Now, this next room is the master. And this is the room where Tammy Daybell was murdered. And from the photos, again in court, the photos we saw, the photos I've seen since, the room seemed much bigger than it is. The bed was here. And I believe it was on this side that they said Tammy fell out of the bed, which she did not. So this is their room.
911, where's your emergency?
We're at 202 North, 1900 East.
What's going on?
We just found my mom. She's on the ground frozen, or she's stiff, and I don't know.
Are you in Madison County or Fremont County?
Well, I'm Chad, the husband. She's clearly dead.
Oh, so sorry. Okay. Okay. Are you in Rexburg, or because your address shows Rexburg address, but you're in Fremont County?
It's my old best.
Okay.
Like, oh, no.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah, she's not even. She's frozen.
Okay. Can I get your name?
Chad Daybell. Oh man.
Okay, Chad. I'm gonna get somebody up to you
They're
right now.
really
Okay?
acting like they're.
Yeah, the corner where the blinking yellow light is with the red house.
Yes, sir. Red house on the corner.
Yes.
Blinking yellow light.
Right.
Okay. We'll get somebody out to you. Okay. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
If you need anything else, you call me back. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Bye bye.
This is a closet. I mean, it's not very big. But what's interesting to me is right across the hall. This is how many steps? 1, 2. These are not narrow hallways. This took me 2 steps. Is where Garth Daybell. This was his room. From what I understand, this was his room. And he was in this room when his mom died. Well, I guess that's the question. He believes he was in his room when she died in her sleep. He was actually likely working at the haunted mill when she was killed. And when he came home, he says he checked into this room. He saw 2 lumps in the bed. It was assumed it was his parents, came in here, and went on YouTube. But one of the most surprising things is how close these rooms were. You could hear, I mean, a simple conversation you can hear across the hall. So this was Garth's room, and this was the master room. Again, kind of eerie. It feels kind of empty.
And if someone was coughing, I imagine you would be able to hear them very loudly.
Right.
With that span of.
Being so close. And
Right,
I mean,
Moni? That's what I
there's
thought
some
too.
space here, but this is a closet. But I mean, you would hear it. So this is where Tammy Daybell took her last breath. So we'll walk down here to the kitchen area. Again, there were photos given to us that kind of show what it looked like. This is the kitchen. Come over here, and I don't know how well you can see with the light, but if you look out this window, you can see the pasture. You can see the outbuildings, the red barn area. You can see where those bodies were buried. And, you know, I guess if you don't know what's out there, you don't know. You wouldn't think anything of it. But you've got the 2 windows. Chad Daybell knew. Chad Daybell knew every time he came here to the sink and looked out there that there were 2 children buried back there. Tammy, though, you know, she didn't know. Now, this is the kitchen. This is the main part of the home. The next part of the house is attached. And this was the big question during the trial. Is it a 2-story home? Is it a 1? Legally, technically speaking, this is a 1-story portion of the home. But to get to the cozy cone, as they called it that because on the movie Cars, they're saying it looked like the cozy cone on the movie Cars. But if we come out here, again, we don't have power. So this is the garage, which was full of stuff from what we're told when the buyers came through. So this was the garage. And then this area, you want to come in here, and this is storage, you know, just shelves, older storage area. And then what's interesting, you remember Chad Daybell writing about feeling like Harry Potter trapped under the stairs, and he was able to get out and see his goddess lover? There is an area under the stairs here. I don't know if he was referring to this, but kind of interesting that there was this area in here. And again, this will all be torn down by the new buyers. But if we go up here, this is the door to the cozy cone. So we'll head up, and I'll try to show you, you know, in here is shelving, a lot of storage. This is where Chad Daybell was served the warrant on June 9th of 2020. And he stayed in that master bedroom till Tammy died, and then he moved to Hawaii. His children then moved in. He then moved back in the house after Lori was arrested. And he moved up here. And he was sleeping over here in a bed when he was served that warrant. Now, John Pryor made a big deal that no one could really live up here. There's multiple power outlets. Do you want to show those, honey? There's 3 over here.
The house is
There's
gone
a 4th
now.
here. There's 2 lights. There's a light switch. Pretty warm up here. I don't know about the AC.
Yeah, the house was torn down not long after this. So the house is no longer there. And yes, he does like sound like he's pretending to be upset. He never shed any tears during the trial.
A little longer than we thought it was going to be.
No. Stop. And but yeah, so yeah, this video is hard to watch, so
Yeah. And you could see them where they were at washing dishes.
please.
I mean, oh, just pure evil.
I can go take it to Daddy, okay? Or Turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got about maybe 15 more minutes. Then
Okay.
Gotta go walk the dogs. So
Okay.
how much longer do we have?
About 20 minutes. So if you want to end it
one-
here and we can finish it tomorrow if you want.
Yeah, we'll start tomorrow with this, so we can finish this, and then everything else.
Okay. All right. Well,
Do you hear that? That's my little brown Chihuahua Muggsy.
Oh.
But yeah, let me get off of here before all 3 of them start.
Stop.
So
Stop.
thank you everybody
All right.
for coming today.
Yes, thank you. And
Yeah,
then
exactly, Lonnie. Thank you guys for
Wanna
coming
say-
today. Well,
bye from Gizmo.
bye, Gizmo. Bye, baby.
Yeah, Moni, the day that they figured out that the date that Tylee was put in the backyard, and the only reason why they figured this out is because they found a text from Chad to Tammy that day telling her that there was a big raccoon in the backyard and that he shot it and ended up burning it or burying it in the pet cemetery. But yeah, so. But anyway, thank you everybody for coming, and we will see you tomorrow, probably about the same time. Have a good day, everybody. Exactly.
They all just went crazy. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
You're
All right.
cursing. Yes. Guys, so much for coming. Want to shoot for 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time?
Yeah.
Nefarious.
Hi, Nefarious.
Meow, meow.
It's okay. Or maybe, depending on how the kids are and Rat House and stuff, maybe we could go live later and finish it. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know.
Hey, to make sure you're here, make sure you're subbed and the notifications are on. Don't forget to like it on your way out. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Yes.
Go out with
Like,
love and
share,
peace.
subscribe. Do all the YouTube-y things, as the Queen Melanie Little says. All right. We'll see you guys later. Either tomorrow or later tonight. Bye, everybody.
Bye.